breaking news out of the NBA. Bradley Beal is headed to the Phoenix Suns in a trade that sends, according to Woj here, Chris Paul, Landry Shamet, surprised he didn't go to the Pistons, multiple second-round picks and pick swaps to Washington. So Phoenix has no available first-rounders to include in the trade. That's interesting. Beal's no-trade limited Wizards marketplace deal could take a few days to be finalized. Now, the first thing I have to say about this is I'm actually kind of surprised that the Wizards didn't try to go around with Miami's offer sheet. Now, I'm not entirely sure what Miami's offer sheet was, but Miami did have the first-round picks, and apparently Beal did want to go to Miami. Now, of course, if there was a deal in place that, you know, Beal had to agree to go to Miami, he had to waive his no-trade clause. He's obviously waiving his no-trade clause with this, despite the fact that, you know, the Wizards, I feel like they kind of got screwed on this one a little bit, obviously, because they just get pick swaps. Phoenix had no first-round picks. They gave up all their first-round picks, pretty much, in the Kevin Durant trade. So if you know a Miami Heat fan, you might want to call them, text them, make sure they're okay on this Father's Day, because they're kind of going through it the past few weeks, losing in the NBA Finals and then losing in the Bradley Beal sweepstakes. So as Kevin O'Connor rightly points out here, the Suns only have 4 players under contract going into this season. And these 4 players make up $161 million and severely limits the flexibility that they have. Now, they have been wanting to move off of Ayton, so maybe they can move off of Ayton and try to get some players in return, some smaller role players for that. But even if so, like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna come right out and say it, I don't care much for the trade for Phoenix. I didn't even think Phoenix was on the radar before it finally came out when I made my other video of the top 5 places that I think would be good targets for Beal. I just didn't see Phoenix being involved because they would have to give up so much and really build around KD, Booker, and Beal. And yeah, on the surface, that sounds like a great big 3, but there's no defense in this team. This team is going to give up 130 points a game next season. It's going to be a bottom 10 defense next season. So per the Athletic here, Miami did offer Lowry, Duncan Robinson, and multiple first-round picks for Bradley Beal. I guess Beal just thought that going to Phoenix, that was his best chance at winning a title. Although I don't know why you wouldn't want to go out west. There's so many good teams out west. You just saw an 8th-seeded Miami Heat team be 2 minutes away from their season being over to going to the NBA Finals. And it feels like it's a net positive for you, Beal. And I'm not a Miami fan here. I was just trying to think of what would be the best landing spot for Beal, because the Heat they do have the culture there. They have defense. They have their system. I'm not entirely sure what Phoenix has. Now, I've seen some people commenting about, should Phoenix be the championship favorites next season? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Again, this team, they have no defense. They are going to have to completely outscore their opponents, and I'm not entirely sure that they can. That was the only way that they were going to win with how the team was currently built with KD and Booker. And we saw that they couldn't do that. In games where Booker, in the playoff games against the Nuggets, where Booker did not just absolutely go nuclear and have a near perfect game, the Suns lost those games. Now, there were times when he did go nuclear and they won those games, but they ultimately lost that series 4-2. I just don't think that the big 3, especially with the new CBA that's coming into play, is going to be a sustainable business plan from a basketball perspective for teams moving forward, unless you just magically draft 3 guys that are all-stars back to back to back and then immediately start competing before all of their contracts kick in. As far as it goes for the Wizards, I mean, again, it is what it is. I'm sure Chris Paul is probably going to end up getting bought out. Maybe you want to keep him as a culture guy, and you're probably going to have to pay his contract anyway. You're going to be terrible anyway, so, I mean, why not have him? Why not hold him prisoner? Maybe see if you can get some sort of trade value out of him, if someone will make a trade, even if it's a couple extra second round picks for him. Why not? But the Wizards are undoubtedly going to be the worst team in the NBA next season. I think they're going to compete with Houston, depending on how Houston's offseason goes, for being the worst team in the NBA. We'll see how the NBA offseason shakes out, but Washington, it's going to be pretty bad for you guys. If you know a Washington Wizards fan, pray for them. They're in it for the long haul. Their team is probably going to win 40 games over the next 3 seasons, if that may be generous even. Is this a good team building around these 3 guys and potentially Ayton? Yeah, it's a good team. They'll eat in the regular season. Frank Vogel is new head coach. Maybe. When it gets to playoffs, nah. I think they're a second round exit in the playoffs, honestly. Maybe I'm being generous. Maybe some people think I'm being generous with a first round. I'm not saying they're a first round exit. Being a second round exit. They're going to be a second round exit. If they come across any team that can play a smidge of defense and is also good offensively, the Nuggets, they are out in the second round. They have to have a fantastic regular season, essentially be the number 1 seed in the West to make it into the second round. Beal's a great player, man. He really is. But I don't know, Phoenix. I know you got a new owner and you're swinging for the fences here, but the Beal situation is finally over. Like Woj said, it's probably going to take him a few days to hammer out the details, but we're probably going to have some more trades come up. There's a lot more rumors going around, and of course, at the draft, you know, the Trailblazers are still looking very active. They may want to try to get rid of that 3rd pick. I'm very surprised they were not in the mix for Beal at all. They were like my number 1 team because it just feels like they want to get rid of the number 3 pick, and maybe that's an overpay for Beal because you could have had Scoot Henderson or, you know, whatever. But, you know, we'll see how active teams are in the future. What do you guys think? Do you think this is a W trade? Do you think this is an L trade? Who won? Who lost? Both teams win? Both teams lose? But comment down below what you think. And thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so that way you can be notified whenever a new video drops, because we're going to have tons of content throughout the summer over the NBA and, of course, the other parts of the sporting world as well. This is Jackson Law from Vendetta Sports Media, signing off, and I will see you guys next time.